When it comes to our clients, everything has changed from budgets, marketing channels, really just about everything. And those core factors that have guided you in the past for your marketing strategies have changed along with it. So you need to make sure that your strategy makes sense for today and going forward. And in order to make sure that we're doing that, I want to share some insights with you from someone who's an expert in the marketing field. I'm really excited to introduce you to Zoe Berghoff. Zoe is our director of marketing and she leads our marketing team. Welcome, Zoe. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me. I have been in the marketing world for the last decade. I work a lot in e-commerce, lead generation, and as well as social media, which is a huge growing part in the marketing world, as we all know with this digital era. What I do here at GMG is ensure that we are providing our advisors with the most upfront technology with all of our assets that we provide in the marketing toolbox and make sure we're always A/B testing everything that we put out there.
We keep Zoe very busy, you guys. So, Zoe, consumer behavior is something that's always changing and evolving. That's not something that's new or different. But these changes that we've seen in the past couple of years due to the pandemic and everything, they've really altered the business world permanently. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, completely. This digital era was coming. It just came a lot sooner than we prepared for. I would say in the next 5 years, we were going to see it, but it came 2 years faster. The pandemic really forced businesses and customers to evolve to the online convenience, whether they liked it or not. You could not go back to that physical world and that connection that we once had. We
Right.
have to learn how to build that online connection, and it happened a lot faster than we expected.
It's funny because I noticed it myself in just the example of grocery shopping. Like all of a sudden, everyone was doing their grocery shopping online. And whereas before it was one of those things like you shop online, so that's like one of those factors. It's kind of like proves that whole point. I do have another question though for you that kind of goes along with that. How do you think the instability of jobs, that fear and stress that goes along with it have added to this?
Great question. And it is inevitable that it's going to be felt by the entire economy right now. We are seeing people are valuing what they're buying a lot more than ever before. This economy does not have unlimited cash flow that all of these consumers just want to buy and buy. They're being a lot more picky and choosy about what they're going to invest their money into, which is where us as a business, we need to provide that value for free and increased value once they buy. That is our job to ensure that their hard-earned money is going towards something that they want to actually invest in.
And you know what? I think that's perfect because our services are exactly that. They are an increase in cash flow to that client. It's not something we have to convince them of. It's literally cash flow to the client. So that is a huge impact. That's a huge change, everybody, that lines exactly up with what our services are. So keep that in mind. When we're applying these factors, Zoe, how can we capitalize on them in the changes in our marketing efforts?
That is a great question. And businesses all around the world are having to evolve their marketing efforts and what their focus is going to be for the next few years and so on. We are seeing you definitely need to step into this digital world. I know it can be intimidating, but it's not going anywhere. And honestly, it's one of the best times to ever be in the business of marketing and having to market your brand and yourself. You can reach 500 potential clients in one post. That has never been done before. You had to meet that person in physical connection and actually
Yeah.
run into them, which you don't have to do that anymore. We can make that one post and spread it across multiple channels and actually hit that potential client multiple different places. We need to focus on building that trust, that transparency you have to have. We need to show our credibility through our brand, and everyone has a brand. Every single person that has an online presence is building their own brand. Focusing on storytelling, giving someone those testimonials and case studies so they can relate to them helps capitalize just building that connection with that client or potential client. And that really falls into video has increased more than we've ever seen it before. We are all watching video content more than anything else. People need to see that visual presence, whether they see images with text on it, they're seeing the caption, they're seeing a video of you talking. We need to build that personal connection through the online world, which is a lot harder than it once was in person.
Yep. You mentioned so many great things, and I wish we had so much more time. So I want to pick out two very specific things that you mentioned. And the first was the reach that we get online versus the old school reach of going and meeting someone in person, the impact and time that that took versus utilizing our online or a digital presence to do that is so significantly higher. That's huge. And then you mentioned video, and we're going to talk, I feel like we're going to talk a lot more about that later on in our segment or in today. But video is so important. And you mentioned it's kind of just getting comfortable with these things and these changes. They're not going anywhere. So thanks for mentioning both of those. There is something that you talked about. You used a little bit of verbiage and you said marketing visibility. So when you say marketing visibility, what kind of tactics do you think we should be using?
Yes, that is a great question. And I don't want to overwhelm anyone. This is something I could talk about for hours on hours, but we need to be generating multi-use content that you can repurpose to multiple channels. This is not going to make your job harder. It's going to make it easier, I promise. We are going to create that one video and you can put that onto multiple different channels and hit that potential client so many different places. We also want to make sure in that video, it's building that personal connection, that personalized feel. No client wants to feel like they're a number that is just in your SMS or email messaging platform. They want to know that you are building that relationship and you value that relationship with them.
I love that. That's a great point. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes. But we want to make sure you guys are using multi-use content. And this is what our job is here. The team and I, we are always building assets that you guys can put out to multiple different channels. And we are doing 75% of that work for you guys. You don't have to worry about starting from zero from the ground up. That is what we are here. We're doing that and then providing you the finished product. Yep. So visibility is huge right now, and it is the easiest way to have it. There are so many different channels, and honestly, we're just going to see more. We're going to see YouTube came about in the last 5 to 10 years. We're going to see a new platform come out in the future. It's just going to be that way. But building that core brand for yourself right now is the best thing you can do in this digital era as it just gets bigger and bigger.
Right. Now, you kind of answered this. So if it's duplication, I promise, or it's not a prize, I apologize. Do you see out of the trends that we just talked about and the things that you've mentioned, is there anything, you mentioned video, but is there anything else that would like exponentially or significantly increase the reach for an advisor or a partner?
100%. We actually have studies based on this that we are seeing engagement can increase by almost 180% if they are seeing a visual matched with text on that visual and let's say a caption. If we can hit them visually, they're hearing something and they're reading something, that info is just soaking in so much more. And we understand not everyone is super equipped with starting in video, and we don't expect that of anyone. We're here to help you through that. But in the meantime, we can be putting out those graphics, that imagery that's really going to build that rapport and trust and credibility like we talked about. It is important that you are starting to feed out that educational content. We need to bring value to our customers and our clients. We need to make sure we're touching them multiple different places, honestly, multiple times a week if we can. And that's what we do here is we provide those assets for you guys. So it's feasible to reach them 2-3 times a week. You don't have to start from zero from that.
I'm so glad you touched on that. I was forming that as literally my next question for you is how often should they be reaching out and how often should they be expecting to put this content out? So thank you for mentioning that. And Zoe also mentioned the content that is of importance or significant to them. So we have, our social media and our emails and all of that, but those articles that we present as well, we really try to tailor those to be something that is impactful or a resource to our potential client base. So make sure that you're reaching out and you're utilizing those as well, because it's an entire system that works together. And that's where the toolbox can really take someone like you, a partner, and we can push you up to that next level, because as a team, we're providing this entire marketing program. It builds upon itself and it builds for your success. And I have to say thank you to you, Zoe, not only for the time that you shared today and the insights that you gave us, but you are the kind of the driving force behind that entire marketing system and that toolbox. And I want to thank you on behalf of myself and all of the partners on the great work that you do with the marketing programs here at GMG.